These aren't even the books I'm talking about. These are the books I'm talking about. Even just thinking about these books.
I'm so excited.
Hello everyone, welcome to or back to my channel. My name is Christina if you're new here. Today I'm going to be talking about my top 15 favorite romance books.
Like, these are my babies.
I think I gave like all of these 5 stars. I'm taking these to the grave with me and beyond. Like, I'm sorry, but the take everything else and also the ones I have on my phone. So let's just get started because these are also, in my opinion, romances that are 1000% worth your time and energy. This is one of the first books I read. The first page, I'm pretty sure I've said this before with this book, I just like was cackling so hard. The romance in this, it's brother's best friend. He is like very moody, like a grumpy sunshine type of guy, but I just love his personality so much. There are so many layers. Like an onion. Their banter is perfection. I just feel like when I picture this couple in my head, I just get like lots of butterflies in my stomach. These are also relationships that I feel like would last outside of this book. I 1000% recommend. You're gonna cackle, you're gonna have a great time. I cannot say enough good things about this book. Also, these are a bit old. I don't have all old ones, but it is really good. This one, People We Meet on Vacation. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for the movie. The first thing that comes to mind when I look at this book and I think of this book is the rain scene. And I don't know, it's like, I think they're in a hotel room. They're like soaking wet.
Because of the rain.
Best friends to lovers, which has actually recently become one of my favorite things. Normally I'm like an enemies to lovers, but if it isn't enemies to lovers, I love a rivals to lovers.
Oh, and I love her name is Poppy.
And the personality dynamic, I don't even know if I'm gonna be making any sense in this whole video. They have an estranged, is that the right? I don't think I've ever said that word out loud. They finally meet up and they go on the vacation together and it's just like so much tension buildup. But like, oh, it's just like in my mind, the way he looks at her, it's just the foundation of the relationship. There's just so much passion. I mean, it's just so good. Now we're gonna talk. This came out earlier this year. First of all, I feel like some people really don't love the covers of this author. I'm trying to show you. It feels like you can't see. Truly, madly, deeply. Both of these individuals are bisexual, and there's just also something in my mind that's so incredibly attractive about someone who's very comfortable with their sexuality. The immediate attraction and just like undeniable chemistry. This is what blows my mind. Like, I genuinely don't understand how on earth the author is able to like create that kind of chemistry on a page. Sparks fly when a lore and romance novelist and a divorce lawyer agreed to co-host a podcast series offering dating advice to viewers. The plot could have been about potatoes. I could care less what the plot was about because the characters had just this unbelievable, undeniable chemistry that was off the charts amazing. Like, what do I have to do to get a romance like this, or just like someone just as respectful and kind? And he's just so also obsessed with her, like immediate attraction. He's just like, I want you. He's so upfront and honest, and it's just amazing. I love it. This, I think, is the sweetest romance. Oh my god, this is so washed out. The cover is so aesthetically pleasing. It's her childhood best friend, Levi. Childhood best friends. 4 years later, and one night in a crowded bar in West Village, there he was, just as perfect as ever. But she couldn't say no when he asked her to be his fake girlfriend for his sister's wedding. So it's a fake dating trope as well. I feel like this has like a lot of tropes. I remember this having a lot of tropes in it that I was like, oh wow, we're just doing everything. But it all worked. It was all cohesive and it worked, and it was like, oh. Reading this book just feels like the epitome of like a lazy Sunday. Like, it just feels like, tell me why I'm like trying to describe it like a perfume. Like, it just reminds me of like clean laundry. It was also such a healthy relationship. I remember this being one of the first like no spice healthy relationship books that I read, and I was like, oh my god, I did not know that that was out there. Like, I didn't know I needed it until I found it, and I was like, oh my god. And he was just like so like he was a gummy bear. He was a gummy bear, and I just like I just loved him so much. And she was just so also so sweet and so just like, I loved her. I loved her so much. And then the dynamic, it was like such a perfect balance. And I loved it. The story is so smooth, like butter. Like it's so easy to read and easy to digest, and it just feels like you're in like Glinda's bubble. Does that make sense? Like that really beautiful bubble. It's all happy times. Couldn't recommend it enough, honestly. This, I tried to explain this to my friend. She was like, oh my god, that sounds really sad. And it is like this book, which is The Last Love Note by Emma Gray. It goes back and forth in between timelines. So she lost her husband from Alzheimer's very, very young. I believe he was like maybe 35, super young. It follows her from 2 years after she lost her husband, but it also goes back to when she first met her husband, and like it goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until she slowly begins to like let go and move on. I feel like this just made me have higher expectations and higher what's the word, standards when it came to books. After this, I felt like this just changed the game for me, and I love this so much. I cannot recommend it enough. If you can handle that kind of stuff, like what I was talking about, grief and losing a loved one, I mean, it was just like at times it was really heartbreaking, and I cried. And I normally don't cry because I take anxiety medication and I just don't think enough about things to cry about them. But this was like, I felt so much for her, and there was so much emotion in this book that was just amazing. And also the second romance, like it happened so organically and so naturally, and the chemistry was undeniably amazing. So good, so good. I loved it. So Dante and Donatella, they're working together to find out who is Legend. Dante is just so sassy. He's so sassy, she's sassy. It's just their chemistry is undeniable. It's hot. It's like sizzling off the pages. It's literally to die for. To die for. I remember, I think I cried at the end of this. Like, it just like this love story, I don't know what it is about. Like I feel like there's definitely a theme. There's definitely something that really tugs at my heartstrings. It really did something, and it's just fan-fucking-tastic. Okay, then this is not a romance, but the romance in it, I haven't read the second two. I read part of the second one. You know when something's like too good that you just like don't want to go back to it? Like you're just almost like scared of it in a way. I feel like that's how it is with this. Very dynamic. It's enemies to lovers. She's infiltrating their lair. Like she's a part of like the bad guys, like the villains, but she's infiltrating the headquarters like as she's posing as like a superhero. She's trying to gain information for her little misfit family of villains. It's a roller coaster of emotions. It's a roller coaster of emotions, but it's just their relationship is just so tender. Feels like, you know, when two people probably shouldn't fall for each other, but it's just undeniable, and the chemistry is just like insane, and it's like he's just so smitten for her, and she's also just so smitten for him, and it's just this book is fantastic. This series is fantastic. I feel like this should be talked about more. Oh my god. Okay, so this is another, I don't have the physical because I gave it to someone. This is my favorite book of all time. When anyone asks me like, oh, what's your favorite book, I'm always like Heartless by Marissa Mayer, same person who did this book. She just kills it. It's like, it's a prequel for the Queen of Hearts, if there was to have one. It's like her villain origin story before she became the Queen of Hearts, and it was just, it's such a beautiful story. Oh my god, it's so good. But the relationship in this, and it sucks because even like halfway through I was thinking, I was like, well, the Queen of Hearts, like I mean, she doesn't have a relationship, so it's like I know that this is it's not a happy ending. It's not a happy ending, but it will just, the romance it gives me life, and it's so satisfying. Not the way it ends, but the way it begins and the way it unfolds, and it was just, it's magical. It's genuinely
magical.
It's a really interesting, good story. I loved it. It's one of the stories that really sticks in my mind, and lives in my head rent free. The romance is just like one of those things that I feel like you would see like edits and edits and edits and edits about, because it's just like that good. Okay, then we have Funny Story. Funny Story is one of those books that I feel like everyone is like, it's so good. And at first I was thinking, I was like, I love Happy Place. I love Happy Place so much. But the romance in it, I feel, this is probably a hot take, but I wish that it didn't have a happy ending, and I wish the two actually didn't end up together, because it feels, in my opinion, forced. But it's fake dating, because both of their partners end up getting with each other, like breaking up, and then they end up getting together and like wanting to get married, and so as a revenge plot kind of thing, they end up getting together. And it's just the way that they fit together like puzzle pieces, and the way that his personality is just so fun. It's so fun. It's so just like, I mean, he's like complete, like the complete package. And then she's amazing, and their personalities, and oh my gosh. I remember I was like, I don't know why I don't have the physical. Honestly and truly, I need the physical. I want to reread it again. I want to annotate it. I just feel like that was it for me. That book is it for me. I feel like everyone should read it, because it's not like, I feel like some of her books can be a bit more dark, except for Beach Read and Book Lovers, I think. Like, I just feel like some of her other books are pretty dark and heavy at times, but this one I just feel like is like, I mean, it is a breath of fresh air. It's really, really good. Really, really good. Trust me. Trust me. Trust me. And I just think of, oh, there's this one scene. I think they kiss for the first time, and it's like a fake kiss, and because I want to do it in front of her ex. It was just the way it escalated. And then we have Not in Love. I recently read this. I have the physical, just not with me. Oh my god. The way Eli, it's like a forbidden romance, but not in like an actual like forbidden way. He is a part of a company that is possibly going to take over her company due to loans, things like that, you know, businessy stuff. Her best friend is the owner of the company, and so she's like standing by Florence. It's like forbidden for her to be with like the enemy, what it seems like. But oh my god, Eli is just, oh. Everything that this man said was perfection. I mean, he's just like obsessed with her in such a healthy way, in a healthy way. I mean, he's just like, from the moment he meets her, it's kind of just like this, it feels insta-lovey, but it takes a while for it to like run its course and like get to where they're more like intimate. It is more of like an erotic book, like it says it at the very beginning, and like the little notes at the beginning. I'm not normally like a spice girl anymore. Like, I feel like I gravitate towards books that don't have spice. They're not even kissing, they're not even touching, but like when they're in the room together, it's just like this like
tension is so thick you can like cut it with a knife.
The conversations they had were so smart and mature. I feel like this was Ali Hazelwood's best book for me, like in my opinion. Writing wise, I feel like she just gets better and better and better and better with every book, and I loved this dynamic. It was so good. I ate it up. Then we have The Flat Share. Oh my god, The Flat Share is just like one of those top books for me that I constantly recommend. I did have the physical. I lent it to my manager. They don't meet in person until like halfway through the book. They're sharing a flat, like a flat share. He spends the mornings there and she spends the nights there, so they never really are crossing paths. But he was in a relationship and she was the one that contacted her, like the main girl in our story. I don't remember her name. Maybe it's Betty. She was in a relationship, which led her to like moving out and like finding a place of her own. They exchange sticky notes and they get to know each other through these sticky notes until they finally meet, and they go on like this adventure together, this side quest. It's just it's so wholesome.
Like you're just in a bubble of happiness.
This romance has a special place in my heart. It's this, I talk about it all the time. Oh, maybe not, because I do delete so many. Lead, the third book in the Stage Dive series. They are standalones. You can read them alone, like you can read them separately, but like I really recommend reading them in order. They're actually all good except for the last one. The last one was like, but you don't have to read that one. You don't have to read that one. It's the third one and the second one. Oh my god. But Jimmy is the lead singer, and at first you meet him in the first book and he's like a drug addict, he's not a good person, and then you see him transform through the books. And once you, like in this one, he falls in love with his personal assistant who keeps him on track. They fit so well. Oh my god, it's so good. And she puts in her 2 weeks. Like, she's like, hey, like, I have feelings for you. But then he is like, no, 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 like, I need you. I need you. I need you. You're the only person that can do this job. You're the only person that is good at this job. Like, I need you. And so he tries to set her up with other people, and he tries to like remind her of his bad qualities so that she'll like fall out of love with him, or she'll like move on. And it's just, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. And then just the way that this relationship blossoms. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. Like, oh, the 7-year slip. Oh my god, the 7-year slip. I feel like I've talked about it a lot. I do typically love Ashley Poston books. Like, She Just Eats. This one, it's like a time traveling apartment where it's like 7 years in between of like, whenever she steps out of the apartment, it's like, it's present day, but when she steps in the apartment, it's 7 years prior, where she meets this guy, and then he's also in her life, like in the present, and oh, he was so perfect. And I just think of like, there's this one scene that I constantly think of like on a day-to-day basis, and it's like the food truck scene. Oh, where she meets with his friends. They own like this food truck, and it's just like such an intimate, sweet moment. And it was so funny, and it felt like I was watching like a part of a sitcom. So good. I can't recommend it enough. Okay, and then this is so kind of odd-ish, but The Predator and the Reaper, I'm gonna put them together, which is part of like the dark verse. Yes, dark verse. I don't even think this man talks, or if he does, he doesn't say much. His presence is just like, oh, I saw this thing on my Pinterest, and it was like, no one book boyfriends the way that Tristan Kane book boyfriends. And also just like all of the characters, not to mention, I mean, this series is so good. I only read the first 2. I was trying to save the other ones for a video, but these 2, oh, the characters, all of them have like, that's the thing with these, is like their personalities, I feel like they stand out so much. You don't get that with every book. I feel like sometimes they just like mesh. Like, I feel like you can't like picture anything except for like a blob. These books, it's like, I feel like these could be like real people. I feel like if you're new to dark romance, it's not like too crazy. It's mafia. He's, I think, an assassin going to kill her. No, she's trying to kill him. That's right. She's trying to kill him. Oh, she's the daughter of the rival family. She's the daughter of the rival family. So she's going to try and kill like their secret weapon. Backfires, obviously, because he's Tristan Kane. And then the second book is just, I need to finish the rest of the series. I loved it. I loved it so much. The last one I'm going to be talking about is The Plot Twist by Victoria Walters. I remember I read it. No, I didn't read it. I listened to it. It's her new boss. She like just gets hired at, I think, one of her dream companies. Really good position. The company just got a new boss, which happens to be her ex, who left her to go to New York 5 years ago, I think it was, or they were together for 5 years. It's a second chance romance. It's his redemption era. I really like him, and they're British. They end up having to work together very closely on getting a campaign ready for one of her favorite author's new book. If the author's book doesn't hit #1 on the bestsellers list, she's going to leave, and then the company will probably get taken over, and more people will get fired, and it'll be like this whole kerfuffle mess. So she's ready to risk it all to prove that she can do the job to the best of her ability. It was such a rich story, in my opinion. Like, I felt like I could easily just jump into the world and listen to it all day, all night. Picked up the book before it because I was just so enthralled with the characters and the writing and everything. It was just so good. So yeah, those are my top, I think that was 15. Might have been more. But those are my top favorite romance books. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you have a great day or night wherever you are, and I will see you in my next video.